Delta brewing package came in today. This is one of my bigger orders. I actually spent close to $100 on this order. Where's my knife? Oh, there it is. And then after this we'll be going rock climbing, but I'll try to make this a quick video so that I can upload it before we leave for rock climbing. Okay. Something product no longer supplied. Which one is that? Oh, the candy syrup. That's okay, that was an extra cost anyway. And I got some other candy syrup in there somewhere. Up here. I got 3 of those, so we'll be fine. Big hops pellet bag. This one. It was only $1.89 for a whole ounce. I don't remember ordering such a big. So much. Maybe I ordered multiples of them. Anyway, that's a great price. Oh, I need a pen. Trying to be better about being accurate about what I've marked and gotten, because there was a point where I mistook the rolled rye for oats, but we figured that out. Okay, so this is the Simpsons Red Rye Crystal. There's something I'd like to do with this, a different type of brewing technique in the future, but right now I'm not going to do that because I'm working on this specific type of brewing technique that I'm doing right now. Okay, so there's that Red Rye Crystal. You know, assuming they continue to supply that in the future. And then let's do these ryes next. Holler Tower Mittelfruger. Mittelfruger. Nugget. Another Celia. Where's that? Because that was the ounce. Wait, 1 ounce. Maybe he just hooked it up. Maybe that's what happened. I think that's what happened. Because I don't see another one on the... I think he's just a fucking boss in a G. Thanks, Jeff. East Kent Golding. Wait, did I already mark the Centennial? No, that's the next one. Alright. Wireman Specialty Malts. The coffee malt. I decided to go dark this time. Corn sugar. Yeah, that's not an ounce, is it? That's much. It's a pound. That's not an ounce. Dad, it looks like the guy who sends this stuff. He sent me a free pound of hops. Which is good because now I can make some really hoppy stuff. I was experimenting with overbrewing some of the hops. That's what's on the stove right now, is a separate hops brew that I'm going to mix in. So now I can really dial that in. Corn sugar. candy syrup. I said rolled rye, I meant the flaked rye. Yep, 3 candy syrups. Whirly Falk. 1, 2, 3. Lactose sugar. And then flaked rye. Okay, I'm gonna put it all back. I'm not sending it back, I'm just putting it back. Preparing it for use. And I asked him not to include any like free packets of yeast, because I am doing a no yeast added brew. I'm still doing that. And while he's very generous and will send free yeast, I had to explicitly ask him not to, which I appreciate the gesture. Every time he does that, I hand it to my dad, because my dad can use the yeast for, like, if he wants to do another pear wine, you know, because we grow pears at the cabin. I think it's a 100-year-old pear tree, and I don't think we have any pears at home right now. Yeah, I don't see any pears here now. But by the way, this is the isolated hops brew that I'm working on. Lots of these little flies, not lots of them, but a fair amount of the little flies that grow on my hemp plant for some reason, they generated from the hemp plant, they keep finding their way into this. But I was planning on straining it anyway, so that's not a big deal. And then I'm just like lightly pasteurizing this because it's been on the stove for a few days. Same with that. Lightly pasteurizing. Ouch. Lightly pasteurizing this again. I put some extra ingredients in. We have this barley tea that I put in also. So once that pasteurizes lightly, then I'll cool it, and I'll lightly pasteurize this too, because I don't know what's going on with it either. But I'm just experimenting with isolating the hops and trying to increase the potency of the hops, because I really like a hoppy brew. But I also want the grains to really shine as well. I really want a deep grain. And then I'm gonna go put these in the refrigerator. My dad to put out another troche for today. I've been stacking quarters, taking 75 instead of 100, which is fine because I can't take 100. I don't have enough prescribed to take 100 every day anyway. It would be like 5 days a week I could take 100, and then Saturday I would have to take 50, and Sunday I would have to take none. So when I take 75, I can choose which days I want to take more or less. Because I could take 25 or 50 or none. You know, I'm working on having a stable system without having to take ketamine, but knowing that I have it available, especially while I'm still recovering, is very important. And in addition, how do I put it? These ingredients can also, you know, in my opinion, be brewed to provide a similar impact to the ketamine, where it's like I'm getting isolated nutrients that plants grow, that humans really actually crave it as a nutrient. That's why I look at the ketamine as like, and I don't mean to be corny or anything like that. Corn is fine and all, but I like corn. but obviously I like corn. But what I mean is to say that it's like a supplement, like a vitamin, and your body reacts pretty drastically to it if you're deficient, and then you take some. But if you're not as deficient as previously, it's less of a drug effect and more of a diet thing. So same thing with this stuff, and since I'm not doing yeast added, I'm not getting that extra potentially intoxicating element. I'm just focusing on the explicit aspect of obtaining the nutrients that I crave when I think of a nice deep beer. I need to tread lightly in the realms of intoxication. Let me put it that way. And I still have rice hulls from the last order. I'm finishing up the rest of these grains. And then I've still got some malt extract. So I'm set up for a pretty good brewing experience. My bottles are empty. And I've got a special brew going in the refrigerator right now, which I also added some hemp. And then, interestingly enough, I decided to put one of these buckwheat noodle packets in it too. But it's primarily a cold rye brew with, I think I put some sugar and Whirly Flock tablet in there. But we'll come back to that later. Right now I just need to, I'm going rock climbing like I said after this. So, put this over here. Once again, shouts out to Jeff at Delta Brewing for being so generous and also being such a good business person. And I think he sets a good example for people who engage in commerce in the farming community, because we need more access to whole foods. And I don't just mean the grocery store. I mean, we need access to, I was gonna say organically grown, but it's okay if you use, like, synthesized supplements as long as they don't compromise the integrity of the plant. That's how I put it. But we just need access to better foodstuffs, so that we don't have to, like, for example, here's a great dream that I have in the future. McDonald's. When I was a kid, I loved McDonald's, but it's not really that good for you as it is. There's not really a whole lot of food in McDonald's food. Let's put it that way. Because it's processed. Because it's designed to be addictive, and it's also designed to how do I put it? Well, I'll just leave it at that. It's designed to imitate what you actually need in your system without actually having all of what you need in your system. And one dream that I have is, like, what if that was all real food still at reasonable prices, and it was still as yummy tasty, but it actually contained real nutrients, because we don't have a shortage of whole foodstuffs in the world, and we actually can supply that quantity of legitimate whole foodstuffs. And of course it's okay to process it to some degree, but the point is that the whole reason that I have to take a ketamine supplement is because it's getting the dimethyltryptamine is getting processed out of all the foodstuffs in our normal food supply. And that's because there's a forced shortage, but we don't have to be like that anymore. Like, for example, Russia and China, the whole reason communism seems so unappealing to capitalists is because of the aspect of the lack of communal resources. Because that, the idea is that since there's an actual lack of communal resources, that it doesn't work, and that it's just like an imperial coup waiting to happen, basically. So, with the automation that we have now also nowadays, especially with the increasing research put into automated machinery, we should be able to create an excess of whole foodstuffs, which can then be processed into further isolated components, like ketamine, for example, And I think ergotamine needs to be researched again, stuff like that. So, you know, just I foresee potentially a more cooperative and openly available market with regards to earthly products. Let's put it that way. Anyway, that's all I gotta say right now. And I'm going to go ahead and get this footage off the GoPro and get ready